life that I'm living. Sit back, chillin', start a multi-business with the focus of making millions. It's the stuff that dreams are made of and no. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Let's Talk Business. No doubt we have had some amazing guests on this show, and today will be no different. Today we have a local business owner who has been in the business for over 40 years that we get the opportunity to sit down and talk to share their journey with you. Who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Mrs. Judy Gish. How you doing, Miss Judy?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yeah. I want to thank you for taking the time out to joining us today for the show. I'm looking so forward to hearing everything that has happened up until now, where you continuously have success for over 40 years. So to begin with, let's talk a little bit about your background. So where are you from and how did it begin?
I'm from South Bend, Indiana. I've lived here my whole life, and I had a brother and a sister, and I met the love of my life and married, and we're still in South Bend.
Nice. So let me ask you, since you say you're born and raised here in South Bend, Indiana, you're a native of the land.
Mm-hmm.
What school did you attend growing up, and at what point did you find yourself having the mindset of wanting to be a business owner?
Okay, I went to Marshall, went to Jackson High School, and then I went to IUSB in education. And it was actually my sister that wanted to start like a bar. Mm-hmm. And my brother moved back home because she had to have some back surgery, and so we all got into it together.
Okay. So your business is a family-owned business,
yes.
Obviously?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you mentioned your brother and your sister. What is your brother's name and what is your sister's name?
My sister is Cindy Medich, and my brother was Rick Medich. He has passed away 2009.
Okay. Well, we're sorry for your loss, and I know it's been some time. So he played a instrumental role in the beginning of you all starting the business?
Absolutely. He was an entertainer, and he had a lot of great ideas. When we opened the place, we had to be unique. So we had back in 1984, nobody did fresh hand-patted burgers back then. They were all frozen. So we had a hand-patted burger with a special seasoning, which my brother came up with. And that's what we've been running all these years. Okay. And then when wings became popular, we came up with a wing sauce.
Okay. So it's obvious, and you've made it very evident, you all are in the restaurant bar industry?
Yes, absolutely. When we opened and when we started getting going and gotten our feet on, my brother just went out to Notre Dame and really started recruiting Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Because he knew some people out there, and then they all started coming in. And what a tradition and a legacy we started with that. The same, some of the same people that hung out at CJ's come back now during games and stuff, bring their family and their kids back to CJ's. So it's a nice legacy. And if you go into CJ's, you can go and see some of the pictures on the wall and get some of it. We lost some of it when we had to move locations and stuff because the building next to us fell into the building we were in, and we were closed for 11 months. And it's strange how many mom and pop places can still be reopen after 11 months. But we were getting calls from all over the country because of the Notre Dame, and you have to reopen, and our local people, you have to reopen. So when we reopened, 11 months later, we were jammed. We were just jammed.
Okay.
So that says a lot. You have to have good food, you have to have good staff, and that's important too. It's got to be more like our community at work is we all work together. We don't do at one time I never expected anything of my staff to do anything I wouldn't do. Now I can't because of health, just reasoning, but we've had some people there a very long time.
Okay. So let's Let's go back just a little bit, and thank you for sharing so much of that with us. That is amazing that you stated that you all were closed down for a little bit. You said 11 months.
11 months, and then we were closed down again when we moved from our other location to where we were, because the place was just, there was nothing in it. It was a shell. And it took us probably 4 months to just get chairs and tables and the walls fixed, the windows fixed. I mean, it just was nothing. And then we reopened, and even with moving the location, we still got packed. Everybody knew, you know, we were moving, and it worked out, and we've been at this location for 14 years.
14 years, all right, beautiful, downtown South Bend. So thinking about going to the earlier stages of the development of your company, no doubt, who assisted you all to go through the process to make sure that your company was legal?
We had a good attorney, Mitch Happenheimer. He's now retired, but he set up everything. We're a subchapter S. He set up everything at the very, very beginning.
Okay.
And what we learned little later, that we're a minority-owned business, because we were 2/3 owned by women. We're women-owned, in other words.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
so,
but we hired an attorney, and we did everything right from day one.
okay. So having that legal attorney help you structure everything, no doubt
Yes.
you trusted in him to make
Oh,
sure that everything
absolutely.
was done. Now, after you got everything established legally, by means of this attorney who made sure that you were probably registered through the state,
Yeah.
did you all present anything to him as far as like a business plan, or was this more so of a conversation that you, your sister, and your brother had with him that he knew how to make things work?
My sister worked at the Century Center, and she was the events coordinator there. And my brother was an entertainer, and so he knew a lot about food costs and that kind of thing, because that's what he did where he was at. And that's kind of how we got started.
Okay, okay. So the food aspect of it, the sounds like there was some marketing in there with your sister having the event planning
Yeah.
background, and you had your brother who has been in the entertainment, so he knew some people, so he helped with that marketing aspect of it.
Yep.
Now, let's talk a little bit about that real estate aspect. You mentioned when you first opened up, you were in a particular location,
Yes.
and then you moved. So how did you all make those arrangements to have overhead?
We rented the spot we were in, and like I said, you have an attorney that draws everything up, and that's kind of how it went.
Okay.
And that's how we got started. Also, I forgot to mention, my mother was the head cook at Jackson, so she knew a lot about food, quality, all that kind of thing that she had to know. So we came back from a background of food,
Okay.
so we knew that.
Okay, and that's beautiful. That now we get a little bit of sense of it was kind of embedded in you all from mom. Mom was in that industry and
Yes,
helped
for
you
a
out.
long time.
Yeah. Now, no doubt, I'm sure that being in the industry that you're in, I know a lot of people who would like to establish such like entities like you all, but they run into the roadblocks when it comes to the licensing. Now, is there two types of licenses that you have to have because you are a restaurant and you deal with liquor?
You have to have a liquor permit. You have to go through excise and do all that. And that's where your attorney comes in and helps you with all that. And you have to have a food license, which you have to have renewed every year.
Okay.
So, I mean, that part of it, you have to kind of, you know, our liquor permits and stuff like that, you have to go through state excise and everything else.
Okay, okay, thank you for sharing that. So now let me ask you this, because another thing that because we've had a couple of other guests on the show that's in the catering business, and you know, one of the biggest things that they talk about that is the most expensive is the food cost. When you think about the overhead, the food cost, maintaining the licenses. No doubt you all have an accountant to help with your taxes.
Yes.
Capital. What would the starting capital, or what would you encourage a person to have aside for starting capital if they wanted to establish such a
You know,
business?
now would be so much different than when we opened up. But I mean, with food costs and everything else involved now, plus the fact right after COVID and getting help in and costs and stuff like that, it depends on what you're going to do. If it's going to be, it just depends on what kind of business you go into. I don't know if it's going to be all food, if it's going to be both, if it's going to be liquor or something. It just depends.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really sure on that. That's not my purview.
Okay.
That was something that you would hire an accountant for and have him or her help you with that. Absolutely. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't know now.
Okay, I got you. So now you're saying that, and this is a lesson for our future entrepreneurs. You don't have to know everything, but you got to make sure you have the right people on your team that does know the things you don't
Yeah,
know.
that's exactly right. Or don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
And don't give up. If you're going to go in and just say, if this doesn't work, then you drop, you'll never make it. You have to be creative. You have to do different things. When we were closed for 11 months, can you imagine being closed and not having your job for 11 months? Especially, I was married, but especially like with my sister and stuff. You have to reach out. That's when I reached out, and we got our burgers and our sauce and everything. Martin sells them. Of course, Martin's has sold them, but you know, I went and we had our burgers in the United Center at one time.
Okay.
For a while.
Okay.
Should have gotten a little bit more help. If I had to do it all over again, I should have got someone to help a little bit. They might have still, you know, been in there. But you have to, you live and you learn. And another thing too, we were going to be in the stadium, and I had a booth to sell our burgers, and I get a call from my doctor, and guess what? I had stage 3 cancer. So I had to drop out. But then I just said, you know, God just said it's not my time right now for that. So you have to, you can't give up. You have to just keep looking forward and going. If you want to get into business, you have to be that way, and you have to be optimistic. And if something doesn't work, you have to find a way for it to work.
Okay.
And that's how you stay in business.
Okay. Okay.
You have to have a positive attitude, and you have to work hard at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, you've given us so much just in that time right there. You mentioned about how your company has taken advantage of opportunities. You said that the United Center, now if I heard you correctly, they sold your burgers?
Yeah, they bought our burgers and brought them in to sell them. And they got one big order in.
Okay.
And they kind of said we didn't go through the right procedure, even though I went to the chef. But there's, you know, that's something I needed to learn or maybe check out before we finished it out. And that's something that I would learn the next time if I ever got the opportunity like that. Okay. But the burgers are that good, and at least people think they are. And we try very hard. You know, it's like any business. You can go in and anywhere, and one day the chef could be off, or an order got in wrong, or, you know, things happen. But you always got to give someone a second chance to, you know, when you go into a restaurant. And I never do a bad review. If I've had a bad experience at something, I would usually call them and just tell them and just say, I'm not doing anything. And I appreciate it when somebody calls and tells me. So that's another thing. You know, there's all you get online, and well, I was there and I didn't like this. I don't do that with people.
Gotcha.
And you've got to be in business. You got to worry about yourself. You can't worry about what other people are doing. You've got to do what's comfortable and what you feel is right for your business.
Okay, okay. So you got to focus on the business. Now, just so I'm clear, in addition to the United Centers deal, you mentioned that there's a store that sold your sauce? Did I hear
sauce
that?
and burgers.
And what store was
Martin's
that? Martin's here
Supermarket.
locally.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So,
You can go in and get a fresh CJ burger there, or you can buy the sauce, and they have our chicken. Most of the stores have our chicken marinated in our CJ sauce, which
Gotcha.
we have won awards with. We won. We were in a Boston food show, and we won the best dipping sauce.
wow. So, so your company's been involved in competitions, obviously, or
Yeah, a
did you
little
just get
bit, not
nominated?
as much. You know, we haven't. That's been our business is our 1st, and this was more when we got into things and stuff like that. But I can remember, and we're going back where people won't even remember. But Paul Horning came in all the time, and he loved our clam chowder and loved our burgers. So back then he said, "Hey, you can use my name on our burgers. The burger Paul Horning eats when he's in town." Regis Philbin was in the bar
Okay.
and mentioned us once on his show. But those two have passed, and but that's what I'm saying. The people, the alumni in the back, they remember all that and they come in.
Yeah.
And that's what I think really says a lot.
Yeah.
We must have given, they loved our food, we gave good service, and that's important too, to have a good staff, and we have been blessed with a good staff too.
Yeah. You definitely it gives a testimony, as you mentioned, to your great quality service and food products when you have such support behind you. So
Yes.
that's a beautiful thing. Now, you mentioned also some of the challenges that you faced that caused you to have to step back. Now, I heard you mention, you said stage 4?
3.
Stage 3,
Mhm.
okay. So talk a little bit more about how that played on your mind as a business owner when you had to step back and let somebody else hold the keys, so to speak. How did you get through that process?
I was very blessed. I had a very supportive family, especially my husband. He was my rock during all that. My sister, she put the ball up and she came in and she did the day and, did things that I normally did. And that's where where everybody worked together. The staff knew and they were there for us. I mean, it just was a combination.
Gotcha. So you were able to, and congratulations, by the way, by conquering that monster.
Yeah.
But as you've done such, and the company is continuously been moving forward, you were able to get back into the reign of things, and now things are going forward. When it comes to the family, because you said this is a pop and mom's joint.
Mom and pop, yeah, I call it.
Okay. So with it being really a family business to that degree, what does the future plan look like for this family establishment? Is this to be something that other family members
depends.
eventually will come up in?
I don't know. My boys aren't, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort and stuff, and it just depends. We take one day at a time and we'll see.
Okay. So no official planning or
No.
discussions on that, huh?
No, they've all got families, and my youngest one lives in California. My oldest son is a grandfather. So I mean, it's not an easy thing to run. You have to be there, and you have to. It's not an easy thing to do, but we've been in it a long time, and we kind of know the ins and outs a little bit better. But anybody starting a business, if that's what your passion is, do it.
Okay.
And just always remember, everything's not going to go your way all the time, and you just have to be creative.
Gotcha. Be creative. All right. Appreciate those words of encouragement. Because, as I listen to you, I've heard so many things. I've heard how the marketing takes place. I heard a network. I heard your supportive system. When you think about all these things, especially to the degree of being able to withstand ups and downs over 40 years, that's a beautiful thing right here in the South Bend, Indiana area. No doubt many people know you and many people love what you do and have respect for your company, your restaurant/bar. When it comes to you thinking about all you all have done with this, what would you say was the biggest challenge that you have had to face running the operations of such a business?
I think losing my brother, having to move, and my health.
Okay. Okay. And you've been able to, continue to endure.
Yeah.
And your family's, you and your sister are the only ones right now still
Yeah.
operating things.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And it's beautiful to see that you all are still able to keep moving. It's good to see that. Now, when it comes to your staff, you mentioned that a couple of times about having a good staff. That's
Yeah.
like the front line of defense, so to speak. How did you all come to establish that arrangement for your staff? Because obviously they are W-2s, correct?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So how have you all been able to make them feel part of the family, that they are giving their best when it comes to providing service?
I think they're happy where they're working. I think they like the way they're being treated. It's a mom and pop. It's not a huge, you're not a number, you're a name.
Gotcha. Because you all, if I'm not mistaken, because we were speaking about this earlier, you all made it a point, I guess, not to expand yourself out so wide that you couldn't keep an eye on it. You actually only have this one location.
Yeah, and maybe in hindsight, we should have opened more locations. But, for right now, that's what it is.
Yeah. I've heard people say it's easier to manage when you don't have so many.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Gotcha. Well, it's such a beautiful thing because, when you think about, because when I had my first experience there by a friend of mine, we were just there and he invited me there. Never been there before. I had a great experience there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the customer service was definitely attentive to our needs, very friendly environment. You have a nice size
Yeah, we do.
location as well. Now, you all also do catering.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so how did you all include that into your service?
Well, that's something we've done for a long, long time. We don't do as much now. We did a lot out at Notre Dame, but when COVID hit, after COVID, we don't do so much. And we do, people come in, and get orders or something.
Okay.
So expand that a little bit, but it's a little harder now because the staff and hours and.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, you also, from what I'm told, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that you all allow persons to reserve your space for events. Is that true?
Yes. If you wanted to have a party or something, then you call ahead. And if we can accommodate you with staff and stuff, we do it. We do it a lot.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay. So just give a call, and then it sounds like that you collaboratively work together to meet their needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that. That's
Yeah,
good stuff to know.
we have parties there and stuff like that, and absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. So I definitely, I would encourage anybody to go and check out the location, CJ's Pub. It's been very fun. The food was fantastic, by the way.
Good. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Looking forward to being there again for that. So if you had any words of encouragement for future entrepreneurs and with the purpose to developing the boss mindset, what words of encouragement, in addition to what you've given, that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, you have to have a passion for it, and get a lot of good advice. Find a good attorney, evaluate what you want to do and check it out and make sure, you've got your ducks in a row.
Ducks in a row, yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, but,
Yeah.
investigate it.
Yeah.
We were lucky when we opened up, nobody did hand-patted burgers. It was a great concept.
Yeah. Because now you do the burgers, you do chicken, and what else?
We do chicken and salads and everything. Even our ham and stuff has no anything in it. We call it clean label, but it's made differently. And if we have turkey there or ham, we serve ham, but we have salads. We have been using the farmers market probably for 35 years.
Okay, so you call that a partnership?
Yeah, I do.
All right, good stuff.
And you know, you're getting you're trying to do the best quality you can. And everybody's going to, well, we have to be careful and clean label. And we've been doing that a long time.
Yeah, experience, yeah. Well, Judy, do me a favor, because I am so glad that you've come to the show and you've shared your experience with us. There's really not enough time for us that I would like for us to have this conversation, but we can certainly pick this up outside the show and continue in our relationships. Do me a favor, look in that camera and just tell the audience your location, name of your company, and how they can come over and support you.
Okay, we're CJ's Pub. We're located at 236 South Michigan Street, South Bend, Indiana. Our phone number is 574-233-5981. Give us a call. Love to see you.
All right, good job, Judy. Appreciate it.
You appreciate you for having me.
Yeah. And as for you all, you know, we want to thank you all for tuning in for another episode of Let's Talk Business. It's always a pleasure to speak with someone in the community who's been well invested. As we mentioned, she's been doing this with her sibling, her sister, for over 40 years, as well as her late brother. And they have been a true part of the community. So we encourage you to go and support them as well. And for our future entrepreneurs and business owners, as far as your mindset, continue to move forward despite the challenges. And we thank you so much for being the examples that you are. And may you continue to have the mindset of a boss. You all take care, all right?